Hey guys, this side Anirudh. I'll be your trainer today. So we have few sessions that we already gone through for BGP. So welcome to the next session. Let's go on.
Given you description of communities, that what are the uses of communities, how many types of communities we have. By default, BGP will never carry community information along with BGP updates. If we want that BGP should carry this community information along with its own update, then we have to enable it, right? So now to prove all these things, what can we do? I will move on New York router. First of all, I'll teach you that how can we allocate communities to your prefixes. Let's say New York router is advertising all these prefixes from its own AS towards BT, British Telecom. So what I want, that New York router should advertise all these BGP updates, all these prefixes in the direction of BT with the community, let's say with community 10, with community 10, or you can say with community 20. Even like you can also add multiple communities as well. You can also add multiple communities. So I will be I will perform all these practicals now. Fine. The thing is, like, all these prefixes have been advertised by New York router itself, right? So what I want now, that it should add some communities onto all these prefixes, right? Or you want to add community on some specific prefixes only? What do you want? On all prefixes or on some specific prefixes only? Let's do one thing. Let's configure community for first two prefixes only, right? So for doing that, first of all, let's create IP prefix list. Let's say its name is CCIE, and then permit 192.168.100.0/23 greater than equal to 24 and less than equal to is also 24. Route map com community permit 10 match IP address prefix list name is, then say set community. You can set communities during two situations. One, when you are applying your route map for your neighbor in both directions, in outbound or inbound. Second, you can also allocate, you can also configure communities to your prefixes at the time of redistribution as well. Set community 10, and then it is also possible to allocate more than one community as well, but right now I'll allocate only and only 10. Now you have to allow all other prefixes as well without any community. So you have to create another statement for the same route map, permit 20, don't match anything, don't set anything, and then finally router BGP 8127, because New York router is running 8127, neighbor 80.1.1.1, route map name is com. In which direction? Out or in? Because this router, this New York router is advertising prefixes in the direction of BT. So I have applied this route map in outbound direction. Fine. Then after, say do clear IP BGP star out, so that now we must start to receive these prefixes onto BT with the community is only first two prefixes, right? On BT, first two prefixes must come with community 10. Are they coming with any community value here? Tell me. Are they coming with any community value over here? No. What's the reason behind it? Because by default BGP will never carry community information along with its updates. Understood or not? That is why here what is happening actually, that when New York router is advertising updates in the direction of BT, it is not including community information, because this attribute is an optional transitive attribute, right? Optional means it will never be carried forward within BGP updates without forcing your BGP, without enabling it. So now, because from New York router I want to advertise this, from New York router I want to advertise this community information from New York to BT, is not it? So on New York router I have to do this configuration as well, that neighbor 80.1.1 send community, which one, standard or extended? We are using here only and only standard. So I have configured this command now on New York router, that neighbor send community standard, right? Neighbor's IP address and then send community standard, and then after on New York router itself say clear IP BGP star out. Now if you move on BT, and on BT if you check it out, see show IP BGP, it is receiving all prefixes. In BGP table it will never show you that which prefix is containing which community value, but if you open it in detail then it will show you. See, now it is coming with community 10, and now further this BT will advertise these prefixes in the direction of R5 and R6, and as well as in the direction of sprint. So if you move on R6 now, show IP BGP, it must receive all prefixes coming from coming from BT. If you open it, show IP BGP 192.168.100.0, does it have any community information? No, because as I said that from outgoing updates communities will always be stripped from your BGP updates, BGP outgoing updates, if you have not enabled it, because on BT we didn't configure this command that towards this neighbor send community. That is why from its outgoing updates it is stripping community information, right? So it is always mandatory to enable this feature for each neighbor. Now you do one thing, move back again on BT. On BT you are running 35500 and then configure 201.100.100.6 and then say send community, which one, standard. Then in same manner say neighbor 200.105.100.5 and then say send community, which one, standard. And then as well as you are also having neighbor 101.1.1 send community standard. Fine. Now move on R6. See, again it is receiving all prefixes here, but if you open 100.0 community 10, but and in 101 also you will get community 10, in 102 you will not get anything, in 103 you will not get anything. And now further what will happen, that on R1 you will not get this community, because on R5 and R6 we have not configured this command to send community towards R1. Show IP BGP 192.168.100.0. Do they have? No. So once again we have to move back again on R5 and say router BGP 65500 neighbor 150.1.1 send community standard. Say clear IP BGP star. It's not it. Have you understood it now? So in this way you can carry your BGP, your communities along with BGP updates. So I just configure this community only on New York router, and then after I just configure send community, right? But if you are advertising any prefix from R1, then of course, and if you set any community onto that will not be propagated in the direction of R5 and R6. Remember that if you want to advertise your community information along with BGP updates towards your neighbor, you have to configure the send community command externally. You have to enable it. So now R5 and R6 can transmit community information along with BGP updates towards R1, but still R1 cannot transmit any community information in the direction of R5 and R6. Have you understood it or not? Even we can prove it. Like what can we do? On R1 interface loopback 101 100.1.1. Fine. Router BGP 65500 network. Fine. I think I have to advertise 105 as well. Oh, I have advertised it. I have it. It is there. 100.1.5.0 is there. So I have already advertised it. Now it is advertising all these prefixes in the direction of R5 and R6. And one more really important command in BGP that we can use for troubleshooting as well, like show IP BGP neighbors 150.1.5.1. With using this command, you can see that which prefixes are advertised or are going towards this neighbor. So from if your router is advertising all these prefixes towards your neighbor, it means that problem is not, and let's say that neighbor is still not receiving all these prefixes, it means problem is not existing at your own end. Problem is existing on another end because you are advertising all these prefixes from your end. In same manner, we are also having command received route, but for that you have to enable that feature. I will be discussing it later on, that in which case and why is it required to use that received command as well. I mean, you can also see that from which neighbor you are receiving which prefixes. So these commands are really important in BGP in perspective of troubleshooting. Fine. So in this way you can see that it is advertising all these prefixes. Now let me configure one community value over here. Like first of all, okay, this time I will not create any prefix list here because I will configure community value for all prefixes, right? For all hundreds prefixes. So I'll say route map name is once again permit 10, set community, which one, 100. Fine. I will not match anything, that's why it will remain as match all. And then after I will say router BGP 65500 neighbor 150.1.5.1 route map name is, and then clear IP BGP star Now move on R5. Sorry. Show IP BGP 100.1. Does it have any community information here? Because we didn't configure that command, we didn't enable it on R1. So on R1 you have to configure these commands as well, that neighbor 150.1.5.1 send. Now go back to fine. And then when R5 and R6 will advertise these prefixes in the direction of BT, of course again community value will not be there. So in this way we can propagate community's information along with, in BGP actually you can say. By default, that's why this attribute is considered now it's having neighbors like 200.105 send community neighbor I think 205 dot 100.10 and send community which one? Standard. And in that also you have to specify this standard community, right? And then after move on R6 as well. Here also configure this command. Now let me open this hundreds prefix. See, it's receiving, just wait, clear IP BGP star in. Now you see community 100 is coming from where? From 6. Community 100 will come from 5 as well, R5. But community is not coming from sprint US, because on sprint US I didn't configure this command that send community towards BT. So I hope that you people have understood that how can we allocate community and how can we force BGP to include community information along with BGP updates. Now the big question is, what is the use of it? Definitely I'll teach you that how can you use all these communities, how can you use all these tag values, but first of all you must understand that how can we allocate them to BGP prefixes, right? So then after it, let's move on New York router once again. If you want to put, if you want to allocate more than one community, do show history. Just go to your route map. Along with the set community 10, say 20, say 30 as well. Say do clear IP BGP star out. Move on BT, show IP BGP. Fine. Okay, forget about it. Now I'll teach you that how to configure named community. Do you remember yesterday I teach you that, okay, how, which are, we are also having some well-known communities, well-known, and we can call them by their name. However, in the background of their names, they are having their decimal values, right? So as I told you that we are having some well-known communities like no advertise, no advertise, no export, local AS and internet, right? So let's say that my requirement is this from New York router, that New York router do not want to let BT to advertise these prefixes towards anyone. I just want to configure New York router in that manner so that BT must not be able to advertise all these prefixes like 192.168.100.0, 101.0, 102.0 towards any other neighbor, towards Sprint or towards, tell me. I mean, I don't want to let BT to advertise these prefixes towards any other neighbor, whether it is IBGP or EBGP. What can we do? On New York router itself, I configured here some communities. You see route map, this, match this, just remove this command from here and then say set community, no advertise. So if you advertise any prefix with community, no advertise, and if any router receives any prefix with community, no advertise, then that router will never be able to advertise all those prefixes towards any other neighbor. So this time, because we configured this community only for first two prefix 100 and 101 only. So let me show you. Do clear IPBGP star out, sorry, on PT right. So now you are on BT and you are receiving all these prefixes coming from your neighbor New York router. Let me show you. So IPBGP 192.168.100.0. What is this? It is coming with community, no advertise. And what does it mean? It means now BT is not advertising this prefix towards any other peer. In same manner 101, in same manner C102, it does not have any community. That is why that message is not mentioned over here, that not advertised to any other peer. That is why if you move on R6 now, do they have 100 and 101? In same manner you can move on Sprint US as well. Do they have 100 and 101 over here? So I hope that you people have also understood the uses of this community as well, not advertise. So remember, if any router is receiving any prefix with community not advertise, no advertise, then definitely that router will never advertise those prefixes towards any other neighbor. Hello. Understood? So this is that how can you configure no advertise. Then after it, let's say that I want my neighbor, I want to let my neighbor to advertise prefixes towards its IBGP neighbor but not to its EBGP neighbor. Let's say I am giving some prefixes from BT to R5 as well as R6. I'm going to disable the connection in between Sprint and BT here to prove this practical, right? Let me do one thing. I will move on BT and router BGP 35500. I will say neighbor 101.1.1 and just set it down. Fine. So this time BT is advertising. Let me do one more thing here. From New York router, let me remove this community from here first of all. Just remove it, and in place of it say set community what 10. That's it. And say clear IPBGP star out, and once again it will start to advertise all these prefixes towards all other, right? I mean this BT means BT will start to advertise all these prefixes in the direction of R5 as well as R6, and then R5 will advertise, and R5 and R6 will advertise these prefixes towards R1 as well as R5 will also advertise it in the direction of Sprint. So this time Sprint is receiving these prefixes coming from Tell me R5. See? Good. Now what I want, that if BT is giving any prefix to R5 and R6, then R5 and R6 must be able to advertise prefixes towards their IBGP neighbor, but not to their EBGP neighbor. And in most of the cases, ISP will advertise prefixes towards customer with using this community, so that my customer will not be able to advertise my prefixes towards any other ISP. Just try to understand in this manner. Let's say this is your customer, this is ISP1, and this is what? So if ISP1 is giving any prefix towards, is advertising any prefix information towards customer, definitely ISP1 must not allow its neighbor customer to advertise these prefixes towards ISP2. And if ISP2 is giving anything to its customer, then this customer must not be able to advertise those prefixes towards ISP. So you can achieve it by using this community, no export, actually no export. So from BT I will advertise prefixes towards R5 and R6 with using community no export. So do one thing, move on BT, and because again I will configure this community for all prefixes which are advertising in the direction of R5 and R6. So I will not require to create any prefix list or something like that. I'll simply say route map com permit, then set community export router BGP 635500 neighbor 201.100.100.6 route map com. Neighbor clear IP BGP star out. Now remember that if I am configuring my community in this manner, if these prefixes were already having some community value, it will replace that. So you see, prefixes were coming with community 10, but now in place of 10 it will put no export. Let me show you on R6. So IPBGP, now all of them are coming here. See, 100, 101, and if you open them, right? All of them. In same manner, it will be present on R5 as well. Then R5 and R6 will also advertise these prefixes towards R1. No export, no export. But these prefixes must not be available on Sprint. So there is a very simple rule that if you are receiving any prefix with the community no export, you can advertise those prefixes to your IBGP neighbor, but you cannot advertise them towards your EBGP neighbor. In same manner, you are having local AS. Like if you are advertising any prefix with no export, then at least BGP can advertise these prefixes towards confed EBGP neighbor. Towards confed, I mean during confederation. Do you remember that during confederation we were having confed EBGP neighbor? So now it can advertise these prefixes towards confed EBGP. Now let's say that you do not want to let your router to advertise your prefixes towards any EBGP, whether it is confed EBGP or real EBGP. Then use local AS community. This time with using this no export, your router will not be able to advertise these prefixes towards real EBGP neighbor only. Fine. So I hope you people have understood it now. So on BT now you can also set community local AS in place of no export. So I hope that you people have understood that what is the meaning by no advertise. Even from BT you can also advertise your prefixes with using community no advertise. And if you are advertising anything with using no advertise, it means now R5 and R6 even they will not be able to advertise those prefixes towards their IBGP neighbor R1 as well. Because if any router is receiving any prefix with the community no advertise, it means it will not advertise it towards any other peer.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching my video. So we'll be coming back with few more videos of the BGP. Please subscribe my channel. That's @ARC_tutorial. Thank you so much, guys. See you in next video.